Welcome to chapter 7 of Buy Back Your Time. We are talking about happiness and how it's a choice. And I resonate with this very strongly. So excited to get into this lesson. If you have not subscribed to the channel already, please go ahead and do so. I'm coming out with more videos on Psycho-Cybernetics, how I've used it to scale up our business to a couple $1 million in revenue and completely rewire my own mindset as I begin to build other businesses. If you have not watched the previous videos, you're going to want to go back and watch those. So, all the way from the introduction, chapters 1 through 6, this will be confusing to you, especially if you're not familiar with these sorts of concepts. It might sound like I'm talking an alien language. So, go back, watch all those videos, do the action items in each of them, and you'll be in a good spot to start this. So, let's get into it here. Psycho-Cybernetics. So, we are on chapter 7. You can acquire the habit of happiness. And I really like this is like people are always looking for happiness. We're always looking for it in external things and this and that. And Michael Singer says it best. It's like you're not okay on the inside. Okay. You're not okay on the inside. So you spend your entire life looking for external things to make you feel okay on the inside. A job, a relationship, a title, a certain amount of money, traveling the world, getting married, having kids, buying a car, doing this, doing that, eating food. You're trying to feel okay on the inside. But the moment that you realize that happiness is a state of being, okay, it's something you cultivate on the inside, something you choose to be every single day, an entire world opens up for you, right? I think Jesus said this said it best, and I'm not necessarily a Christian or this or that, but some of the stuff in the Bible is very relevant. He said, "You can build your house on rock, or you can build it on sand. If you're building your house on sand, that means you're tying your identity, your happiness, your joy to external things. Okay, I'm happy when I have the car. I'm happy when I get the job. I'm happy when I have the relationship. Those things own you now. They own you because if you lose those, you lose your happiness. But if you decide to be choose to be happy and wake up and just be happy with what you have and be grateful and cultivate that state of being from inside of you, you have built your house on rock. Because it doesn't matter what happens in the external environment. Yeah, you may get the relationship or the car and this and that. That's gravy. That's cherry. That's the cherry on top because you already have everything you need inside of you. And because of quantum physics, the internal creates the external. The second hermetic law, if you read the Kybalion, the seven hermetic laws of the universe, the second one, as above, so below as above. Basically, the internal world creates the external world. And we know that from quantum physics because everything is energy. Our thoughts are emotions. So our thought sends a signal. Our emotion is the magnet that draws that experience into us. So our internal literally creates our external circumstances. So if you choose happiness, life will give you more things to be happy about. It's a present moment decision, right? It doesn't come after you hit a goal, begins before. Again, your internal state of being creates your external world. So you choose happiness every single day. And then over the course of days and weeks and months, you'll notice synchronicities, things that come into your life that give you happiness, right? Or put you on that path towards happiness. And you'll notice, right? When you are in a different state of being, that the world is different. And yeah, this journey of cultivating this state of joy and happiness inside doesn't happen overnight. It's a conscious choice you have to repeatedly do every single day. You fall off the horse, you get into negativity, you become aware, you get back on the horse, happy, in this joyful state of mind, you fall off, you get back on. And over time, it's easier to stay on the horse longer, the horse of happiness. And then you're in this negative state less. But waiting for, I'll be happy when is just a recipe for misery. Recipe for misery. Oh yeah, but I'll be happy once I reach $1 million in revenue, or I'll be happy once I make 150K a year. But no, actually, I'll be happy once I get the relationship. That's all I need. That it never ends. I'm telling you right now, it never ends. So you don't chase happiness; you decide it internally. So many people talk about this. Michael Singer. Happiness is really a mental habit, like I said. There's a quote, I forget who said it, Socrates or someone, but nothing is either good or bad. Our thinking makes it so. And that is extremely pertinent right here. It's not about perfect circumstances, it's about how you interpret those circumstances. Stuff happens in the external environment. How are you going to view it? Viktor Frankl said in A Man's Search for Meaning, we have the power to choose how we want to respond to our circumstances, right? He basically said, you have your circumstances, or sorry, An event, there's a space between um, stimulus and response, meaning an event happens, there's a space for you to pause and decide how you want to react to it, and then there's your reaction. So it's all about responding over reacting. And Viktor Frankl was uh, uh, a in a Nazi prison camp. And he was like one of the only people that survived because despite everything that they did to him in the worst conditions, he understood that hey, I can't control my environment, but I can control how I respond to my environment. And it literally got him through and saved his life. So your thoughts shape your state of being. As the external world is coming in, be aware of things that come in and choose how you want to respond to it. Yeah, it's a little bit difficult at first, but as you do more of it over time, it becomes easier. You have to choose how you respond to things. When your thoughts lean positive most of the time, your life feels better regardless of the details. Now, being happy, he says in the book too, is like it's being happy a good deal of the time. No one's happy 100% of the time. Like you are a human being. You experience anger and frustration and sadness and guilt. And I talk about letting that stuff go because you're gonna experience it, but you gotta let it go. Like earlier this week, I had a seller call me back. It was a deal that happened 2 years ago, and he was upset. And he's like, "I feel like I got taken advantage of, and all this stuff." Instantly, I'm like, like tightening up inside because like I don't want anyone to feel like that, right? And it just like goes against all my values and all this stuff. But I had to, handle the situation, but I had to let it go. After that morning event, like it really brought me out of my energy. I was all whacked out. I had to go sit down, take a few breaths, and reset and get back into a good baseline, peaceful state of energy. But I had the awareness to realize, like, hey, that knocked me out. Let me reset. But that's what letting go of those emotions are. It doesn't mean that you don't feel them. It means that you're able to let them go instead of having that drag you down all day long. What you focus on becomes how you feel, right? Where attention goes, energy flows, right? Where attention goes, energy flows. And where energy flows, creation grows. So rewire your brain for positivity. We're very conditioned to default think in the negative. I think it's from our physiology as we've evolved. We used to live in the woods or live in the forest, and there would be tigers. Anytime there was an unknown or anything, you'd have to immediately think of the worst case scenario to save your life. So that's kind of how we're wired in a sense, but we can undo that because we don't need that now. Our lives are not in danger 99% of the time. But your brain is plastic, right? Neuroplasticity is something that has been proved, right? You can train it to see the good. Again, Hebb's law: neurons that fire together wire together. So the more that you think new thoughts, you fire different neurons in your brain. You form new synaptic connections between neurons and new neural pathways, and you literally rewire your brain every time you consciously decide to think happy thoughts or joyful thoughts or abundant thoughts. But it's a process. You fall off the horse. That doesn't mean that you are a failure. It means that, okay, you failed in one instance. That's okay. You keep going. This is the problem. We fail at something or something doesn't work out when we start identifying as failure. You are not a failure. You had a failure. That's the difference. And anyone who's ever been successful in anything has failed a bajillion times until they found out the right way to do it, until they got there. But you got to be okay with failing. Understand that doesn't mean that you are a failure. It means that you failed, right? In something. You failed in something. You are not a failure. That's the difference. So if you do it enough, though, it becomes automatic and your personality changes. Joe Dispenza says, change your personality and you change your personal reality, right? Because if you change your set of thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and actions, because the internal creates the external, you're going to create a new external environment. So a new personality, thoughts, emotions, behaviors, because everything's energy, literally creates a new personal reality. And that's the game, rewiring yourself from the inside out. Breaking the habit of being yourself, Joe Dispenza. That's what you need to read. So choosing optimism daily. Happiness is the way, not the reward. Yeah, it's the way, not the reward. Again, you don't get it as a result of something. You choose it now, and then everything in your world bends around that. So don't postpone the joy, the happiness, because yeah, it is one of the highest performing emotional states. Because when you're in that creative, abundant state, you're out of the fight or flight. You're in the sympathetic, the nervous system is in the parasympathetic state, meaning the rest and digest state. You're open to these ideas, this creative intelligence that flows into your brain like nothing. Everything is so easy. I promise you. When I'm in a relaxed state, I can get done in 2 hours what would maybe take me like 6 hours. And I was just so much more at peace. It's like you get your cake and you eat it too. You're at peace and you feel good and you get more done. What are we doing? What are we doing? So be happy first and results follow. So key themes here: happiness is a mindset, not a milestone. That's a bar. I don't know who came up with that. I think my assistant did. Train your mind to focus on the good, and joy becomes a habit. That's it. Joy is a habit. Happiness is the habit. That's the theme of this chapter. Over time, your personality will reflect this shift, not by forcing it, by repeating it. Okay. So remember, you're gonna fall off the horse, but you got to get on and you got to keep going. Again, if you have not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be coming out with a bunch of videos. I love teaching. I love sharing this information. It's changed my life. I'm sure it can change your life. Until next time, all the peace, all the power.